We just saw The Lost City of Zed, and on this show I take my friends, we go see a movie, we review it here in the car, and have a discussion. This review video is spoiler-free, so if you're on the fence or looking for a recommendation, you can watch this video to find out what we thought without spoilers. And if you want to see the rest of our thoughts, including spoilers, there's another video out there. It'll be called The Lost Island, or The Lost City of Dr. Zed. The Lost City of Zed. Movie discussion with spoilers. There's so many Z's and Z titles that are getting mixed up in my brain. This is The Lost City of Zed, which in American English would be The Lost City of Z, which is what we bought tickets for, but then we quickly learned that no, they actually pronounce the Z like they do in the UK and other English-speaking countries. So this is a historical movie about exploration of South America, the Green River, Rio Grande, stars Charlie Hunnam, and it's about them. First they kind of go and are making a map for the first time, trying to better define the lines between two countries to keep them from fighting each other so much, to try and keep war away, but they seem to be on the precipice of finding a lost civilization. There's some themes about how the English and the other European explorers are not really, they're not giving the due to the possibility that there might have been civilizations, or currently there might be civilizations in South America that are as advanced or came from similar backgrounds as they did, which as we all know, eventually we found that there were massive civilizations in South America that predate some of the European civilizations. So it is what kind of movie is it? Well, it's a historical drama, and it does a good job, I think, of presenting the information, presenting the material in the way that it happened. It is not a movie in the structure that you would expect a movie to be. It doesn't follow any kind of a 3-act structure. It doesn't have the sort of narrative that you would really expect. The movie seems to be coming to a conclusion a couple of times, and then it carries on, so it's got kind of an epic feel to it. I know I've said this on a lot of reviews. I'm the kind of person that if it's a longer movie, I like to watch it at home. I like to have the ability to pause it and use the bathroom, or take a little break from it every once in a while. I would have liked an intermission in this movie. It would have been nice to just kind of stop and not watch for a few minutes, but it was overall it was good. There's nothing wrong with it. It was well acted. It's just and I would say that even as it was, the material is it is a slow moving movie, but the pacing's not wrong or bad for what they were talking about. So I would recommend seeing it. I would recommend waiting until you have a pause button at your command. So what do you think?
I've seen my share of slow movies that had a lot of art to them. Stanley Kubrick did several of those types of movies. I think this reminded me a lot of some of his work. It reminded me of some of the slower parts of Apocalypse Now, because they're in the jungle a lot, and it's kind of a similar sort of storyline. My biggest challenge with this one was the script felt really, really flat. I understand that it's biographical and it's historical, so it kind of has to follow a certain path. And I think they did in a couple of different places build some characters into some of the historical people that went on the journey that kind of made the story slightly more interesting. But I think the dialogue, just from a screenplay standpoint, was so flat, and so just sanitarily, like there was nothing to it that really made it meaty at all. Like I was really struggling to like find. I mean, it's got a little bit of an adventure to it, the whole story, and yet it didn't feel like an adventure at all. It felt very dry.
Yeah, and my feeling on that was that I agree with you. I think there could have been more characterization. I think there could have been more dialogue. I think they could have injected some humor into the movie, and that would have been a pleasant thing to have added to it.
Yeah.
I also think that a lot of the movie is like, it's almost like they're trying not to use language if possible.
Mm-hmm.
So they use it as sparingly as possible, and it's always here's what I'm thinking, here's what we're going to do next. There's never extra color on top of that. There's never,
Yeah.
they don't have philosophical discussions about what they're doing. They just...
What did you think of the sound? Because one of the challenges I had, especially in the first half of the movie, was all the mumbling. Like I didn't even understand what they said half the time because it was just so poorly recorded. And I don't know if that was intentional, like to try to kind of like muffle the script enough so you didn't get hung up on it or what.
I didn't have any problem understanding people,
yeah.
but maybe I just understand Charlie Hunnam better than I've seen a lot of his stuff before. And
yeah. Well, especially Robert Pattinson, who, by the way, you don't even recognize it's Robert Pattinson until about halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
But he's got this beard on. He's kind of scruffy. Most of his lines were kind of like this. So there were a lot of lines in there that I didn't know if like they were. Yeah, I wasn't catching a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like the movie that I kept thinking of, and Apocalypse Now, like I can see that. The movie I kept thinking of was Aguirre, Wrath of God. But it's not quite as tedious as that, and it's not quite as like there's not the insanity of that. Like you don't have
Right.
the Klaus Kinski.
Right.
You don't have Aguirre in it. It's more like Charlie Hunnam, Wrath of Bad Luck or Bad Timing or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciated the depiction of the historical events that you see throughout the movie. You do get a drop in on World War I through a piece of it, and the technology and the things that were kind of going on at that time were kind of interesting. So there's that. I mean, it's definitely interesting to watch from that perspective. But
And it could have been cool too, as like a 3-hour miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
Like make it a little longer, give the characters a little bit more
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Develop some of the things that are happening around the main character instead of just focusing on him through the whole thing. But
Yeah. I just kept wanting it to be just give a slight twist towards Indiana Jones with the adventure, and it would have been so much more. And I know that's not the movie the director was trying to make, but at the same time, it's when you have to sit there for. Honestly, it probably wasn't more than, 2 hours, but it felt like a lot longer than that.
it's very slow. Yeah, it moves very slow.
It just needed something to it.
It moves very slow, and to, I mean, not to get into spoilers at this stage because we're not into that video yet, but it's like they make multiple attempts over decades, and unless you know that going in, you're sort of, I guess that's kind of the suspense, kind of the,
Yeah.
like, I felt like for the first half of the movie, like, this is a suspense movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's, are the natives going to come and kill them? Is one of them going to go nuts and start, destroying the food? Or is it going to go Aguirre, Wrath of God? Is one of them just going to decide he is the Antichrist and rule the world? But it just kept kept kind of going, and then they're back in England all of a sudden. It's like, oh, okay, all right. Well, this wasn't the day.
Smash cut. We're back home again.
So, any rate, yeah, we probably need to get into spoilers at this point, so we'll switch videos. But yeah, if you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.